Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my AFL Fantasy team final reveal before the season kicks off tonight. We are just over 8.5 hours away from the first lockout of AFL Fantasy 2024, which is absolutely huge. It's been a massive preseason. I mean, the preseason, just looking back on it, the first video that I made for AFL Fantasy would be at least 50 videos now. At least it was back in, let me see, the first team reveal, I'm guessing, or something, was way back in, I can't even see now. It was that long ago. I'm guessing it was probably, December or something. Yeah, probably December, when we first got the first team out for it. Just looking at here, just trying to find it. Can I find it? Team Reveal 1.0, December 18th. We are now almost 3 months to the day from that video. There's been so many other videos on the channel, as well as just going through all of the games, the teams and stuff like that. And so it's been a massive pre-season, but I guess here we are now. Almost 100 videos later or whatever, and now we have the AFL Fantasy team reveal for the season, and there are only about, I think, 2 differences that I could potentially make after this video, depending on teams. So it's not, the teams that I know of, or it is all rookie based. My on-field team should stay the same, but it is rookie based. I may change depending on some advice, but it is so minor that you may not even, see it, or it may not even have much of an impact on the season, to be honest. But anyway, before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, we have the website up here, the AFL Fantasy website, and I'm just going to flick over so I can see my a screenshot of my team. And then the first up you have here is we are going to go in that D1 position is Harry Sheasel. I've really liked the way his preseason has gone. It's pretty much solidified it to me that he's at least going to be able to get those really floor games out of him that he had last year, those 40s, 50s and 60s, when he was either tagged or he was moved into sort of that high half forward role. I think he runs a little bit in the midfield, but he's predominantly down back, which is the role that I think is best for him personally. And I think he could honestly almost stay there for his career just with how he plays. And obviously they do have McKercher down back there, but I think McKercher will obviously move into the midfield in the coming years in 2025-26. And I think Harry Sheasel and Zach Fisher could be there for Zach Fisher now 25. So I reckon they could be a combination for 7-8 years, to be honest with you, down back. The next player we have here is an early buy player. Let's just see. If I go defenders, you'll sort of see the true selection. And it is Lockie Whitfield. Really like his break even now of 29. I believe that is break even on his 855k. So he needs 29 points to go up in value. If he drops 100, scores 100 against North, then he will most likely be around about, I would say, that 900k. And then that 900k, he'd also have almost a negative break even, I would say, at that point. And that would put him probably at 900k with about a 10-15 break even or something. And that would hugely help to get his cash gen going, even though this play is just to get some cash on board, but it is also a play to see if Lockie Whitfield is a top 6, because if he is a top 6 in the line and getting him at 855k, I don't see him really being cheaper until probably round 8, round 9. It would take quite a lot to flip that break even around, because you would expect him to at least get 90, and 90 would take 3 or 4 weeks to get that 137 out of his system, and then it would take a couple of weeks for him to get back down from that 850, from probably a 900 to 920k price. So that's why I have him at D2. D3, a pretty common pick with Hayden Young. He looks really good in that midfield. It may not be a 20-point jump that we see out of him. He was priced at he's priced at 89. I suspect he's probably going to go somewhere between 98 and 102. and I reckon that is basically going to be top 6 at least, and getting him very much unders is very, very good for the side. Then at D4, we have another common pick in Elliot Yeo. Recruit him as a defender. I think he is on for a big year, big preseason, priced at 70. So I think he is a floor score of a 70 and a ceiling score of a 110. So I reckon he could easily go an average 90, 95 over the first 6-7 weeks. And that is our leapfrog to get Dacos. As you would have seen so far, Dacos is not on my side. I just don't think Dacos did enough in opening round for me to select him. I understand people that do select him, but I'm worried that the Swans run Heaney, Rowbottom, Fox on him and really restrict him. And so that makes him probably score somewhere. I reckon he's going to score 90, 95 against the Swans, somewhere around there. And then that'll bleed some cash. And then he's got, obviously, you'll see here, he's got a kind run. St Kilda, depending on when Windhager gets back, I'd need to look at the injury list to check that. Windhager could easily tag him there. Brisbane, he'll go nuts and score probably a 120. And then he's got Hawthorn, where it looks like McGuinness will come in for that game, basically exclusively, tag him, probably restrict him to a 90. And then I don't really see there being much value if 5 games he goes and scores, say, 500, and then has the bye. Or sorry, 4 games, scores 400, then has the bye. You're picking a 980k guy for effectively an average of about 90 across the first 5. Oh, probably not 90, probably 95 when he's priced at 108. So yeah, I'm not going to select him just because I have a feeling that the Swans will do a good job on him on Friday night. And that's why I'm giving him a miss. But my plan is, if we go back quickly to Nick Dacos, and I know we have time, this is getting long, this is going to go long, but my plan is to get him round 7 or round 8. Definitely before this West Coast game. I'm a little bit worried about Carlton a little bit, but I think they should be fine. I mean, he's got Hewitt will probably tag him, but I reckon he can just go into the back line for that game, to be honest, and dominate there. So I wouldn't be surprised if I pick him up round 7, almost as my first upgrade. And that should be, given that we know DPPs, that my backline will be basically it'll have these 3 guys, probably Nick Dacos, and then it's a spoiler, but it will probably end up being Martin and McKercher there as well. So that'll be my backline pretty much by the time that round 7 rolls around. And then we have Zach Williams, D5. I think he showed enough, and there's just not enough cash for me to go for like Buderick or something and play that way. I don't want to play that way because that would be lining up too many trades, and you do need to sort of hold on these trades that you're locking in so that you can have those fix-up trades. So I'm not wanting to... I would rather have someone like a Swans guy that I want to trade and almost lock those type of trades in, rather than a rounds 2 or 3 when you're doing those fix-up trades. And then at D6, I have Caulfield. Enough said about him with Caleb Daniel now seeming to be bevoed already, round 1. I think Caulfield can be a distributor, and I think he can go, honestly, he could go 75 in the dog system. And then at D7, I got Blake Howes. I really liked his game. We showed in the break even that he's got a minus 58 with fantasy or whatever, which is a minus 58. Yeah, you can see on here on a 200k. So that already means that he's probably going to go up 40. He's already, I think, 245k effectively. So, or somewhere around that region. And means that he is basically going to most likely go up. Say he gets 100, say he gets 70 or 80, he'll beat his break even by 130, and that'll be roughly 100k. So we'll jump straight up to 300k with just a 70. And then D8, at the moment, this is where that sort of situation comes in that I was talking about in the introduction. Is it's currently Zach Reid, but with teams named, there is a potential for this to swap a little bit around. And I'll show you that when I get the completed teams as the guy in question is in the emergency slot. And then M1, it's pretty clear who it's going to be. I know I wasn't on him this whole season, as I didn't really like it, but then as you start to sort of go around and then you and then you realize some stuff and you see other people, other players' performances and the value that we have, and the reason that he is in the side is because he has the kindest best 18 draw that I have seen out of any teams. He's got the Suns, Eagles, the Bombers and the Saints all in the best 18 rounds. Which is just, he should be going 120 against all those sides. He is going to be top 8, I reckon. So, yeah, I'm just going to go Bont and then just, yeah. I know he's going to dip in price, but I reckon he is just really good. And he gives you a captaincy score of at least 100 to 120 each week. So that should be good there. And yes, I did say that he wasn't going to be that good of an option in preseason, but things obviously do change, and the value that we've gotten around him, and as well as the sort of 800 to 900k guys that have sort of fallen off from what we had in preseason means that I am going to go with 1 million plus guy. Then we get to the M2 slot, and I cannot actually see him. It takes a while to scroll down to him. If we go here, and it is Rosie. I really like his role, his role, and this draw to open up. You've got Eagles, where he should be going. Honestly, could go 120 against them, 130. The Tigers are horrific. Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. I don't think Melbourne play well at Adelaide Oval, to be honest. And then he's got the Bombers in at Adelaide Oval as well. Freo, and then Collingwood at the MCG. That is a tough game, but he should still be able to put up a 90 or a 100 there. And then he gets St Kilda at Adelaide. That should be good for him. And yeah, the only real tough games are these Geelong and probably Collingwood, even though Geelong are not the best side. They're at GMHBA, which is a home ground fortress for them. And then obviously has the Hawks at Adelaide Oval, but I reckon McGuinness probably doesn't even play that game. So yeah, I really like this draw for Rosie, and he also has that round 13, which is one of the best buy rounds. M3 is Steele. I don't know where he is. I reckon he is... Where is he? I will just probably... If I cannot see him, here he is. Jack Steele, one of the best, players to... in the last sort of 3 or 4 years ago, when he was putting up 120s, and I think he's just ultra value, got through pre-season unscathed from what I've heard, as well as having all the injuries last year probably meant that he was about -5 or -5 to -10 on what he can do. So I reckon he can return to that sort of 110 range, and he was at that 97, so that is the pick there. And then we go to another one that is highly owned in Nick Martin. I really like the way his role is, and he will slot basically right in that defender role come round 7 when we get the DPPs at the end of round 6, I believe it is. So, yeah, I really like Martin, and I really like that he can basically just slot in there, and I can get Dacos that round as well, and then you'll see McKercher, who I'm obviously selecting, is going to go in there, and Nick Caulfield can effectively, at the end of round 7 or round 6 or whatever, is going to probably combine with a rookie to hopefully get up to someone, but I don't know how much he'll have gained by then. Maybe he's like 600k or something like that, and a rookie's 450k or something like that, and then I can get an 850k premium or something along those lines. Then we come to D5, and not D5, M5, and he's somewhere down here. I saw him earlier. Ollie Wines. I really like his role, and I think he's going to not necessarily return to, necessarily go and be a top 8 or a top 10, but I reckon he can be a top 20. And the top 20 price at 77, there's potentially 25 points of upside here with Ollie Wines, and that is just too valuable a pick at the moment to go for. And then we have here the 3 rookies in McKercher, Sanders, and then Roberts is unfilled. I keep on repeating this. I got the Roberts call wrong. I didn't think that they'd basically gift him the Jake Lloyd role, and that's what he's going to get. And he's going to put up 70 each week, I would expect. Pretty wet conditions, and he put up what was it, 90? Or was it a 70? I forgot what he actually put up. But yeah, he just has the role that I really like. Roberts Sanders is an absolute bull. He should be announced today in the teams that he'll be playing, and Coleman McCurch is already announced as playing. So yeah, I really like that lineup, as well as just the fact that it is sort of a guns and rookies midfield a little bit to an extent. You do have the three guns, and then you do have Martin, who I expect to be an absolute smash play, and then Wines, who I think is ultra value, and there is no Bonner. I did go away from that, and that is just because there is a play in the forward line where it gets a little potentially iffy around round 5 with who to trade, but I went with that option just in case an injury does linger a little bit longer, but that might give away a little bit. And then we have in the midfield on the bench, Darcy Wilson. I will recruit him as a midfielder at the moment. And then you have, so he in midfielder, there is an option in the forward line on the bench to swap him around to get him onto the forward line. So there's that. And then on the other bench slot, you have Jai Clark. So there's that as well, and you will see there is no Sharp, and that is part of the Zach Reed substitution or whatever method, that there is a potential workaround, not a workaround, but a different option on the bench. So there is a little bit of a wait and see on that one, but I will go through that in a minute. Next up, you have the two most popular rucks at the moment. You'll see Sherry ownership keeps on dropping, and I like the look of that, to be honest, as I reckon you can adjust from Gawn and Grundy to Sherry, so that's why I'm going with that. And then at the moment, we have Barnett, who I will recruit as the R3, just because he is a loophole option, enables me to get a VCC captaincy. But if we do get Reedy, I will go with Reedy over Barnett, and then probably chuck my F1 if that does happen tonight. So that'll be a slight restructuring, but that'll mean just more money dumped on this bench probably, which should be, it should be good actually in the end, as it'll probably mean a lot of 280k guys, which 280k guys are still valuable. Or it may mean that Caulfield goes up, but I don't think Caulfield will go up, given that Daniel doesn't seem to be named, so I reckon he gets a really good role in the Bulldogs back 6. And then you've got here at F1 at the moment, the guy that I've been talking about a little bit, Luke Jackson. I think he can easily, with another preseason under his belt, I mean, what is he now, 22, something like that? He isn't that old, like Luke Jackson, let's see, how old is he? Let's see, he is currently only 22. He's only 22. This is his like 4th year or something, 5th year. And yeah, so I think he's going to do really well without Darcy for 3 to 4 weeks at the moment. That could easily blow out to 5 to 6. Which 5 to 6 weeks, then you start getting to the coverage of a Gawn and Grundy, which is absolutely what I'm looking at and thinking, if he can just stretch 5 to 6 weeks and cover Gawn and Grundy, then these two become a smash pick. That becomes a smash pick, and my sort of F2, I can trade for a sort of Flanders or something like that. So that is sort of what I'm thinking about. And trying not to lock in trades, but there is going to be a lot of chaos probably come round 4 and 5. And then we get to next selection, and it is Isaac Heaney. I think that role is going to stick at least for the first 3 rounds. As you see here, round 4 with Gather Round. I don't think they'll travel Adams. I don't think Parker is going to be available, as he's seeing a specialist in 3 weeks' time, so around about this the weekend of this Richmond game. So I don't think Parker will get up in the week that is that, but I think Parker will get up for the Suns game. So you got Parker and Adams coming back for this Suns game, and I suspect we will see Mills around this Carlton game, or he may be after the bye. But I suspect the Carlton game is when he comes back. So Isaac Heaney, I think he loses the role. So it may be a 4-week cash grab with Heaney, and he goes big first 4 weeks and gets himself up towards that 16 break even. If he goes 100, that's probably 84 difference. That's probably about 60k. I reckon he could easily jump towards that 830, 840, 850k by the time his buy happens, easily. Maybe even towards that 900k by the time his buy happens. And as his two hardest games are round 0 and round 1 in his first 5. So, and he's gone to 121 against Melbourne. Collingwood should be a toughish game. I'm suspecting maybe 100. But then Essendon, Richmond and Eagles, he could easily go 120 against, or average 125 against the whole of them. So yeah, I really like this Heaney pick, and I think he could easily come out of the buys, or come into his buy around 900k, and you upgrade him to a Flanders or something like that, and potentially if Luke Jackson loses the role, if Heaney is 900k and Luke Jackson's 850k, and you go, oh yeah, what is Flanders going to be? Somewhere around that, he's probably going to be 830, 840. Then you can almost just go Luke Jackson to Flanders, and then also a Isaac Heaney to another, midfielder, to be honest with you, and then just play a Lazaro or a Darcy Wilson at F6 for like 1 or 2 weeks or something like that, or you can just trade him to a McRae or some other top 6 forward. So yeah, that is just the plan with that. But we'll wait and see, I guess, on what transpires in the first sort of 4 to 5 weeks. F3 is pretty obvious, I think. His roles there is injury-free. I think he's almost a must-have at this point. Yes, he did have an injury in preseason, but that was like 3 to 4 weeks ago. And he's a must-have with the cash gen he can make. He can easily score 100 each week in that sort of dirty halfback role for North Melbourne. So yeah, I reckon Zach Fisher is a must. And so I think he easily outdoes his break-even of 69. I think he goes 95 probably in the role and is a top 6 forward. Then we go on to another one of the early buy players in James Jordan. I really liked the fact that he got his cash gen going. He's got a break-even of effectively 10. He will go 70, 80, 90 for the Swans, somewhere around that region, and that just is banking cash quickly. He could easily be 650, somewhere around that, come his buy, and you can easily, you can almost pick out of Jordan or Isaac Heaney who you want to trade. But yeah, I reckon Jordan will be one that can easily outdo his price by 20, 30, 40. So somewhere in that region of, he's going to go somewhere between 70 and 90. So yeah, I reckon James Jordan is just a smash pick early, and he'll make 150k before his buy quite easily. And at 600k, there's a lot of options that you can maneuver him around to. Then in the F5 slot, you have Alex Sexton. I really like his role down back. He went 80 in round 0 or whatever. So yeah, got a minus 16 break even. If he goes 100 again, he'll be upwards of almost 100k gained. So yeah, 480k would be absolutely huge in the round 1. And then in the F6 slot, at the moment, I've got Harley Reid. This could change. Does have the Port Adelaide. I think Port will absolutely smoke him, and I think you could see, that's the thing about him. I don't know whether he'll get a sort of 50 or a 70, so I don't know whether to necessarily, if my bench options like Darcy Wilson or someone like that were playing an easier matchup, I would probably have selected them at the F6 slot. But they're playing pretty hard matchups, or the ground is pretty tough to score at, especially for Wilson against Geelong at Geelong. I think that's going to be tough for wingers. We saw that with Windsor at the SCG. So I am not going to necessarily be selecting the bench guys to play on field at F6 at the moment. And then on the bench here, we got Campbell. We also have Lazaro here, and then we have a little bit of an outlandish one. If I just go down here, and it is Dempsey at the moment. And then we'll just put Bont as the captain, because Bont will be captain and Lockie Whitfield will be VC. I know that's a little bit outlandish, but I reckon Whitfield could easily pull a 120, 130 against North Melbourne, especially if they go up by like 50 or 60 and then they just decide to chip the ball around. So that could easily happen. So I'm going to go Whitfield VC, and then if that does occur, we will probably see me go something like this. We'll just do that. Emergency there. That should work, and then we'll go probably something like that. I haven't looked through the fixtures to decide if I want to go that emergency route for these guys, but you see 3k left, 1709. That's just because of this if we look here now, it's 1765. But yeah, that should be fine. And then if I was to change up my team just a little bit, it would be, as I was explaining in the intro, it would be something along the lines of this. And if I just go here, 200k defenders, you have Schoenmaker here, and then you've got Campbell there, you've got Darcy Wilson there, and then you've got, where is he? Sharp. And then you got Sharp there. So I could do either one of those, and then potentially a Seth Campbell to a Cadman, if that is the case there. But we'll wait and see on team list to see if Dempsey is named. As I may go down this route, which I like a little bit, but it does depend on Schoenmaker, Dempsey, as well as Sharp getting named, as they haven't been named yet in anything. So yeah, that's just the little bit of the decision making that I've got to go down for them. But the on-field team is pretty much set, and that is the, I guess, video there of my AFL Fantasy team for 2024. And I went through all the selections. Emergencies, I'll fix that when the teams come out, etc. And when I make those, that's a pretty simple thing to do. So yeah, first video down for today with the team reveals, and next up will be probably 12, maybe this might come out at 1. If this comes out at 1, the Supercoach team will come out at 2. If this comes out at 12, the Supercoach team will come out at 1. So yeah, it'll be an hour after, no matter what. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.